Are you a fan of Krampus? Then you need to meet Frau Perchta. Now, she's a little bit terrifying, and she's also known as the Christmas Witch. Now, she should not be confused with La Befana, who is the Christmas Witch of Italy. Now, La Befana, she's actually pretty nice. I mean, she leaves little, like, toys and treasures in your shoe for Christmas. Well, technically Epiphany, which is on January 6th. Now, Frau Perchta is also tied with Epiphany, January 6th, but her intentions are completely different. So they're kind of two different people. Now, they might have been based on a similar legend, and then that evolved throughout time, but La Befana will not do the things that Frau Perchta does. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's get started. But before that, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. I'm trying to put out videos pretty regularly, so maybe once a week-ish. And, you'll be the first one to know when I put out new content. And be sure to check out my website at alexmatsuo.com for blogs on a whole variety of things, from paranormal to lore to research to living life in general. So anyway, enough of me babbling. Subscribe, give the video a like. Let's go. So it's the holidays. It's that time of year when all the decorations are up, the Christmas trees are lit, people are spreading good cheer, the war on Christmas has resumed, and parents are putting up Elf on a Shelf, and parents are using Elf on a Shelf to get their kids to behave. And this is all under the idea that the elf is Santa's little snitch or secret agent and is reporting the child's behavior to Santa. And the elf will move around the house each night. However, Germanic lore kind of has a different idea in getting their kids to behave. And the most popular one that we know of right now is Krampus. And Krampus is that half demon, half goat that is Saint Nick's little buddy. Well, not little, he's not little. That comes around to the houses with Saint Nick, and he puts the naughty children in a sack. He carries chains around, he beats the sack with a birch stick, and he takes the naughty kids down to the underworld with him, aka hell. Now, if I was a kid growing up in Europe, Eastern Europe, Germany, I would probably behave. And it's more than just superstition. There is a holiday known as Krampusnacht that takes place on December 5th, and it still happens today. And Krampusnacht festivities are happening all over the world. There are even parades where dozens and dozens of people, mainly men, dress up as Krampus. Probably they've been drinking, and they pretty much terrorize the children. So it's much more than superstition. Instead of going to get Santa sitting on your lap, you got Krampusnacht and going to a parade where dozens of Krampuses are scaring the bejesus out of you. But if you think that's scary, Frau Perchta, in my opinion, is even worse. Because with Krampus, I mean, yeah, you're being put into a bag and beaten with a birch stick and being taken to hell. Frau Perchta will actually kill you. There goes my YouTube monetization opportunity. Enjoy those therapy bills, kids. Now, you could say that Frau Perchta is a female counterpart to Krampus because sometimes she's associated with him when these legends and lore are told. However, she's strong enough to stand on her own. So she mainly comes from Eastern Europe, Germanic, and Alpine lore. And as we said before, she is famously known as the Christmas Witch. If you're into old school fairy tales like the Grimm brothers, then you might already have an idea of who Frau Perchta is if you've read the legend of Frau Hulda, and I'll get into more of those similarities in a moment. So the eldest Grimm brother, Jacob, is mainly the person who is responsible for bringing Frau Perchta to the prominence that she is at today. Now, according to him, Perchta was really known as Berchta or Bertha, and her story dates back to as early as the 10th century. And she's actually seen as the female equivalent to Berchtold. Now, Berchtold was the leader of a group known as the Wild Hunt, which was a band of soldiers that consisted of elementals like fairies and elves and other mythological beings. Now, Frau Perchta is the upholder of cultural taboos, mainly in relation to spinning. Now, back in the olden days, spinning was pretty much making thread. So we're talking about the spinning like, Sleeping Beauty, making flax into thread, that sort of thing. Now, during the 12 days of Christmas, aka December 25th through January 6th, it was believed that you take a break from spinning, you celebrate the holidays, and Perchta would roam the countryside in the middle of the night. Now, before I forget, Perchta also had a feast day, which is January 6th, Epiphany. Hey, going back to La Befana. Back to Frau Perchta going into people's homes. So she would go into people's homes and she would know right away if the children had been naughty or nice, if her traditional feast meal had been consumed, so we're talking gruel and fish, and sometimes dumplings depending on where you're hearing the legend from, and if the women of the household had stopped spinning by the 12th night of Christmas, aka Epiphany, January 6th. So she is the upholder of cultural taboos, mainly when it comes to spinning, and it was believed that women needed to have all their flax spun into thread by the 12th night of Christmas, which would have been Epiphany, Frau Perchta's feast day, hey, also La Befana's feast day. Bringing it all back together. Now, Frau Perchta also bears a striking resemblance to the Scandinavian goddess Frigga, and Frigga was also very much into spinning, and Frau Hulda from Grimm's fairy tales was also very much into spinning. So there's a common thread here. Ooh, there's a spinning joke. I didn't even realize I made it. Now, if you're familiar with German legends and lore, then Frau Perchta probably sounds very similar to Frau Hulda as well. And Frau Hulda is a well-known goddess, and Jacob Grimm really tried to establish her as such, especially like with his work in the fairy tales and whatnot. We're in the scene. Frau Perchta has gone into your home. Now, if you were nice and you did what you were supposed to, you ate the foods you were supposed to, and you stopped spinning when you were supposed to, then Frau Perchta left you a nice little coin somewhere in your house, probably on the table where you could find it. And she also appeared to you as a beautiful woman in white robes. But if you were naughty, ate the wrong foods, you just kept spinning, then Frau Perchta came to you as a very haggard and elderly witch type woman, and pretty much she slits your stomach open and stuffs you with straw and garbage and all sorts of nasty things, all for punishment for not doing what you're supposed to do. Now, if I was a kid and I heard this, yeah, I would probably be a little bit better behaved during the month of December, especially during the 12 days of Christmas. Now, another neat thing about Frau Perchta's appearance is that legend says that one foot was larger than the other, and this was said to indicate that she was some kind of shapeshifter, probably shapeshifting into different animal forms. So anyway, Frau Perchta, appears as a beautiful woman in white robes. She's got connections to La Befana, Frau Hulda, and Frigga, and then you have Frau Perchta as the murderous, avenging entity that made sure that you followed the rules, and if you didn't, there was certainly hell to pay. So Krampus is sounding a little more PG now, doesn't he? So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this short little video on Frau Perchta. If you did, be sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and comment, down below. Let me know what you think of the video. If you have any other holiday legends and lore that you want to share, I would love to hear them. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and happy holidays.